Alright, what's up, family? Yeah, we're gonna do another family video on this one, an important one. Very important one. I'm gonna title this one Uncle Joe or Aunt Frances. Yes, Uncle Joe or Aunt Frances. Now when I say that, your uncle may be a different name, your aunt may be a different name, but you get the concept. The concept is talking about your uncle, all that your uncle do, all that your aunt does. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I said Uncle Joe, Aunt Frances. Now when I'm talking about that, you ever realize how Uncle Joe, he always makes time to look out for family. He's always concerned about family. You've seen Uncle Joe across town helping Mark out. Let's say Mark going problems with his car, brakes gone. You find out that Uncle Joe took Mark to the auto parts place, got the brakes, came back to his house, showed him how to fix the brakes. Matter of fact, he fixed the brakes himself. He said, man, you don't need to take that car to no dealership. We could do that ourselves. Save you money, boy. But you, and also was making a bonding. He was bonding. You know what I'm saying? Like that old video I did on that called Bonding. Check it out. Because when you're doing a project with someone, it's a form of bonding. You're gonna remember, yo, we did this together. You know, and then you find out that Uncle Joe, cross town, you find out that cousin Cynthia, she's about to get evicted out of her apartment. And then we find out Uncle Joe to the rescue again. He wound up going over there, talking to the landlord, probably paying half her rent, but then working a deal out with the landlord and tell him he could fix some other adverse situations the landlord got. So now you find out Uncle Joe at an apartment building fixing plumbing and sheetrock just to cover his niece's rent. But always looking out for family. You know, these are the type of stories we hear all too often. You know, this be the same uncle that he might went to the Home Depot or Lowe's with him, bought a bunch of little flowers and vegetables and stuff, and he dropped it off to Auntie Pam, because we know Auntie Pam like planting flowers in the garden and stuff. Man, you seen Uncle Joe over, when you went to visit Auntie Ann, or Pam, whatever it is, you went over to visit her, you seen Uncle Joe was over there, and they was in the backyard planting plants. See, the whole thing with Uncle Joe is always doing, just checking on family. Always checking on family, make sure family's all right. But here's the thing, do anybody ever check on Uncle Joe? You see, this is where we fall short a lot as family. You know, we always are, oh man, everybody can count on Uncle Joe. Just like with Aunt Frances. Aunt Frances, like I said, your aunt may be another name, but you get the concept. How many times we seen your aunt, whatever her name is, but I'm going with Aunt Frances. How many times we seen Aunt Frances? You know, when we found out that grandma was sick and in the hospital, Aunt Frances was up at that hospital day and night, sleeping in the hospital if they allowed it. She's there all the time. Aunt Frances also, later down in the months, you find out that cousin Anna, her daughter just graduated college. And Aunt Frances was at the college ceremony front and center with the biggest bouquet of flowers. So proud of her niece. Look at my niece. She's just so proud. She make time every time. You know, Aunt Frances was the one every time calling everybody. Every now and then call, hey Marcus, how you doing, man? You know, it's your Aunt Frances. I was calling on you, boy. You ain't stopped by in a while. I ain't heard from you. I ain't heard nothing from you. I just want to make sure everything all right. You know, hey cousin Tim, you know this your aunt, right? Boy, you ain't came and see me in a while. How you doing? You see, her whole thing, Aunt Frances and Uncle Joe, the same concept. Their whole thing is they're from the old school, and their whole thing is they just want to make sure family is doing all right. They always checking on their family. I want to make sure my family's all right. But like Joe, Uncle Joe, Aunt Frances the same. Who's checking on Aunt Frances? You see, what people we all need to do is be more reflective. You know what I'm saying? Now, as always, I love to give you a word of the day. That's going to be the word of the day, reflection. Now, obviously, we know if you look up the word reflection, it means like to give back a mirror image. You know, we think, first thing we think of a mirror, but yeah. But it also means thinking and consideration. You know, when you go down with the definition, it also means to thinking in a considerate way. You know, because you thinking back. Man, Aunt Frances did all this for me. I want to give back. Uncle Joe did all this for me. I want to get a reflection back. I want to give back to him. Reflection. You know what I'm saying? So every now and then you need to think, man, let me do some reflection stuff for Aunt Frances. You know, you can do simple things. I'm going to tell you, it ain't always about going to spend a lot of money. Sometimes the greatest things and the greatest gifts are the things that's free. Like they say, the best things in life are free. You know Aunt Frances like carrot cake. That's my favorite carrot. That's my favorite cake. You know Aunt Frances love carrot cake. Go bake a cake. And I mean you bake it. Don't go buy it. You go. Now if you want to buy it, that's fine too. But if you bake it yourself, that's even more. That's more intimate. And you take it by her house and you say, Aunt Frances, listen, I just baked this cake. But I want you to be the first to taste it. I want to know how is it. I want you. You know how that's gonna make her feel? That you thought so much. You had so much of a reflection on her that you put me first. That you want my opinion about what you cook. I'm telling you, it's gonna be a bonding moment. Remember what I told you about that video? Do a project with somebody. It's a bonding moment. Trust me, it's gonna build character with the both of you. Because you can always say, man, we did this together. I remember I baked that cake, I took down Frances. She gonna remember. She gonna be thankful. You know what I'm saying? Uncle Joe. You know Uncle Joe always fixes something. You know he got a whole bunch of tools. Don't dare ask Uncle Joe or Aunt Frances. Don't ask them, just do it. You know Uncle Joe love his tools. Don't ask him, do he need this tool and that tool? Just go buy. You know there's always new tools all the time. So you see it's this new tool that came out, just go get it. Don't even ask. Just go get it and show up and say, hey, Uncle Joe, man, I know you be doing the ratchet set and this and that, or the new blade, this and that. Look at this new one, man, I just went and picked up for you. He gonna be like, boy, I don't need that stuff, man, I got all that. It's like, look, I know, Joe, Uncle Joe, you don't need it, but look, I bought me one and I bought you one too, man. Just check it out, man. I bought it for you, man. I was thinking about you. See, he can't say no because you say I was thinking about you. Because see, all too often we hear stories like that's not so pleasant. You find out through a doctor that Uncle Joe got cancer and done had it for the past 2 years. You find out that Auntie Frances got a brain tumor and she's been fighting it for umpteen years, right? And now when stuff gets so bad, everybody want to boo-hoo and cry and say, oh my God, why didn't he tell us? Why didn't she tell us she was going? You know why? Because Aunt Frances and Uncle Joe, they're very prideful. They would say stuff like, something like this. Look, I don't need it. Everybody all in my damn business. That's why I ain't say nothing. Y'all doing fine. I ain't want to stress nobody out. Y'all just do what y'all need to do. And you know, don't worry, I'll be fine. I'll be fine. But the truth of the matter is, Uncle Joe and Aunt Frances won't be fine. They'll be finer if you checked on them more often. If you took time to be a reflection on them, you know, give back, show thinking and consideration for them. See, that's when they'll be more finer. But when you only just taking for Uncle Joe and Aunt Frances, you see them all over town helping everybody else in the family. You don't think checking on everybody and helping everybody, you don't think y'all should check on her? Check on him? See, they're priding, they're never going to ask. They're never going to ask. But they need to be thought about too. So I just want something that you to think about. Aunt Frances, whatever your aunt name be, your Uncle Joe, whatever your uncle name may be, they need to be thought about. So give them a call, go stop by, go buy them a gift, go bake them a cake, go bake them anything. And to just tell them, look, I was thinking about you. I want to get your opinion on this here. See, you making them important now, instead of just taking all the time. So the point, in closing, what I would say is more positive thinking when we're trying to do a reflection of our families. Think positive. Finish on a positive note. Peace.